What's up? I'm Wes Holland from Pickwick Commons, doing a little rig rundown. This is my #1 bass right now. It's a Fender Precision Bass Special, so it's got a jazz bass neck and the P-bass body, which is super sick, and it's got this high mass bridge that I'm in love with. My backup is a 1994 Mexican jazz bass with no strings on it right now. I like this one too. Over here we got the rig. I'm running a Line 6 G55 wireless. So I go out of my wireless into the receiver right here, and out of the receiver goes into this Korg tuner. Korg tuner, we go to the Sans amp. And so we're kind of using the Sans amp as a splitter right now. So we're taking the affected out of the Sans amp, and that's going down to channel 1 of this power amp. And from that, it goes to the bottom 4 speakers of my 810 cabinet. We then take the unaffected out of the Sans amp, and it's running through the Kemper, which is profiling a dark glass head, and that goes to channel 2 of the power amp, which goes to the top 4 speakers of the 810. Another really cool thing that we just added to the rig is this radial 2-to-1 mixer. So basically I have a DI that is a blend of the 2 tones. So I can give that to a sound guy and they get the tone that I want instead of like doing 2 mics or whatever. Just it makes things a lot easier.
What's up? I'm Colin. Let's do a rig rundown. So Wes and I both have these Enki cases, which are double guitar flight cases. So unlike Wes, I don't have 2 different instruments. I have 2 of the exact same instruments. This is what I used to record our session today. This is just a BW1. It's Ben Wyman's signature model from the Dillinger Escape Plan, made by ESP. So I use Ernie Ball baritone slinkies. It's a 72 to 13. We're in drop A, so really thick strings. 2 EMG 8185 active pickups, really simple metal stuff. It's got locking tuners, but that doesn't really matter because this is where it all happens. This is an Evertune bridge. The biggest factor for buying this guitar was the Evertune bridge because I play really aggressively, and having thick strings and low tunings, it just went out of tune all the time. I had like an Ibanez RG, and like I would tune, sometimes during a song, it would suck. So I picked up this guitar, and normal 25.5 Fender scale length, and it works amazingly. So that is normally my backup, but something was happening with this bad boy. So this is my main, exact same guitar, but this one's older. This one's a lot more beat up. It doesn't have the proper selector switch, mismatched knobs, thing up here that says play better. I threw my guitar down when we were playing at a tattoo shop, and I jumped on it. Yeah, so these are my guitars. I love them to death. They are like the best instruments that I've ever played. For my rig, well, first, couch guitar straps, super cool. Guitar straps made in California from recycled material, all vegan, which is super important to me. First off on the rig is this new wireless that I got. This is a G75, which is the flagship model from Line 6. I picked it up used on Reverb for a really good deal. So that goes, I don't have it mounted officially yet, but it's in the back. So wireless there, and a cable runs out. So we go into my tuner. All of this is wired with pig hog cables. So every single one of these. They were very nice to send us a bunch of freaking patch cables. So I did my whole rig that way. And we're sponsored by them, and then me personally, I'm sponsored by this company, AMT Electronics. It's a Russian company, and they make preamp pedals. So going in, and this is also from AMT. So it goes into the tuner, and then we go to this True Selector, which just has 2 separate effects loops. You can either have the A loop or the B loop. There's no loop through option. So for my sparkle loop or the B loop, the send goes to a Dynacomp, and it goes to the R2. When it's set on its clean channel, it's modeling a Fender blackface type sound, and when it's on the dirty channel, it's a Mesa rectifier. Then it goes to the Hall of Fame. I mess around with it, every show, but usually it's on the church mode, or I'll go over to lo-fi if I'm feeling frisky. Big effects level, medium to small decay for like a really big sound. So and then that goes back to the return. And then when I hit it and I switch over to the grind loop, we go to this East River Drive. The settings are always changing. It's just a tube screamer. There's nothing special about this pedal. It just does its job and it's great. So that runs the preamp right here. So this is basically a 5150 with transistors instead of tubes. So all of my rig is completely solid state. I don't mess around with tubes anymore. It's too heavy. I don't need it. I get a good sound without it. So nothing's digital, but it's not tube. And then that goes to the decimator, just a noise gate. So having this right after the preamp would be the same as having a noise gate in the effects loop of your tube amp. And then that goes back to the return, and then the output of this goes to the freeze, which is where a lot of fun. This is my only fun pedal on my board, and I do that in between songs. Some of our guitar tracks actually have this without any attack transients, and it kind of sounds like an organ, so that's super cool. So then this runs back, and then the only thing in this rack that I use is this Moss Valve power amp. Everybody always asks me, how do you like that Kemper? And I say, it's pretty good on bass. Anyways, so I go into this Moss Valve. I run it bridged, so these knobs don't do anything. It's got a little presence knob in case I want a little bit more brightness, which I needed today in this room. And then this is just volume. All my tone shaping is on my board, and this just gives me volume. And then that goes to this Mesa oversized 4x12 vintage 30s in it. I have never played a better cab. There's nothing that sounds better than this, in my humble onion. That's it. Yeah, that's my rig.
My name's Brandon. I play drums in Pickwick Commons, but I also do a lot of behind-the-scenes kind of stuff. I kind of take pride in working on our guitar rigs and designing stuff, making sure we're efficient on tour. And a big part of that was getting this rack here that's got all of our bass and guitar gear in it. Just as easy as possible to set up and tear down. So up here, you can see Colin's rig is primarily over here. So he's got his guitar in, which comes from his pedal board. It's currently not hooked up. So he's plugging his pedal board in right here, and then he's taking a powered output right here, which goes directly into his Mesa 412 cab. It's hooked up right now differently because of our session, but normally that's how Colin's rig is set up. And then Wesley's is a little more complicated. He's bi-amping, so his bass low output, this is a powered output. This is from his Sans amp. Well, it's technically from the Crown power amp, but that's his Sans amp signal. This is also from the Crown power amp. This is his Kemper signal. And then this DI here is the combination in the radial 2-to-1 mixer. This is the output of that. So I've soldered everything up in here. So when we get to a venue, it's just a matter of plugging stuff in and going. And we found a lot of sound engineers really love having this bass DI back here. It's super easy for them to find. As you can see down in there, it's a little bit of a mess right now. We are going to redo this before our next tour. But normally they'd have to sift around in there and find a bass DI. And on a dark stage where you can't see anything and you don't know which DI you want us to take or whatever, all it can get confusing. This is just the simplest way to get set up and moving on to sound check. So everything here, pig hog cables, absolutely love them. Down here is our track rig, which I also designed, track and wireless rig. So we run a second guitar on stage so that we don't have to have another member with us, but we can still sound full. So right here, this is kind of where I plug my phone in. It's that easy. I just run everything off my phone. I throw my phone in airplane mode, plug in, I got a charger just so my phone doesn't die during a set, and then a 1/8 inch output. It's a pig hog splitter, so it runs into 2 1/4 inches in the back. One of those 1/4 inches runs into this wireless unit here. It's essentially a Sennheiser from China with the name not on it. So we kind of saved a lot of money and found a way to get Sennheiser units online. It works just as well. It just doesn't have the name on it. Even the body packs, you can tell are the exact same ones that Sennheiser's sending out. We actually have a friends in another band that have a Sennheiser rig, and we've A/B'd it, and it looks all the parts are the same. Everything sounds the exact same. It performs just as well. It's just packaged differently, and it's probably 80 to 90% cheaper. So that's what we're using to run our wireless. Everyone gets a click, including me. I run in right here into this front headphone port because I don't want to have a wireless that could potentially die or cut out on me. So yeah, that's our wireless. And then up here is a Samson tube microphone preamp. Honestly, I just found the cheapest single channel microphone preamp I could find online. It didn't need to sound good. All that's doing is it's taking the other signal from my phone and bringing it from like a mic or low level up to line level so that I can hit this Crown Power Amp down here, which goes to the 412 we keep on the other side of the stage. So instead of sending like a guitar DI out to a venue's front of house, we're doing everything on stage. And Colin's guitar is matched before we start every set volume-wise with the track guitar. So we've got our own full sound on stage, and then a lot of venues we play, they're kind of doing a bar mix. They're just filling in as needed. So it's really nice to have everything taken care of on our end. We're in control of how loud our tracks are and everything like that, because when you're putting that kind of control into someone else's hands, you know, you never know if it's going to be too loud, not loud enough. So as far as in-ears go, all three of us are currently actually using different in-ear companies. Colin is using Fenders. How many drivers do you have? Do you know what model?
What?
Drivers?
I don't know what that is. I have the FXA5. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't think Colin has 5 drivers, but that's what Colin has. Colin's the only one that really likes his headphones. I have 1964 ears. They're custom molded. I'm the only one with custom molds. They do a really good job of keeping sound out, but they do not sound good themselves. They're quad drivers. They're supposed to be good, but maybe I'm just too picky. I don't know. Not in love with them, but they do their job. I just need to hear click, and I need to keep outside noise out. So they do the job there. Wesley uses some that are supposed to be a guy that left Aurosonics and started his own brand. He's making these ones, and Wesley's had problems with those too. So we're kind of on the hunt for good in-ears. Luckily, everyone can hear the click, and that's the most important thing. So yeah, besides that, we're really happy with everything we're doing as far as gear-wise. For Pickwick Commons, I'm playing a DW Maple Performance Series kit. I have a 13-inch rack tom, an 18-inch floor tom, and a 24-inch kick. I really like playing bigger shells. I just love the power, and you can feel them a little bit more. Super punchy. Just really love these shells. Right here, my snare is it's the DW nickel over brass snare. Super loud. I really like the sound. I'm currently playing with a pinstripe coated head on it, which is normally not a head I've really cared for on snares in the past, but I picked one up recently, and it seems to be doing the trick for me, and it's lasting a lot longer. Before I was going through heads a little bit quicker, denting my snare heads really fast. And on my toms, I've got Remo pinstripe clear heads. Those also have been holding up really well for me, and I'm liking the tone I'm getting for them. On my kick, my batter head, can't see it from here, but it is a Power Stroke 3. Also super punchy, and I just really like how dead and punchy it sounds. I have like 2 tiny little pillows in my kick drum and nothing else, and it just sounds amazing. The head really does a lot of the work. As far as cymbals go, I'm playing all Peisty. My crash is a Peisty Formula 602 20-inch crash. My other crash is a Peisty Formula 602 22-inch ride. The Modern Essentials series is super cool. I think it was designed by or formulated with a jazz drummer, but I really love them. They sound amazing for me, and I use these both as crashes. As far as ride goes, I have this Gigabell ride. It's an 18-inch. It's it's like my smallest cymbal. That's not my hi-hats really, which is weird because it's my ride. But I mostly am using it for this massive bell. It just sounds super, super loud. It cuts everything. I get compliments on it all the time. It shows. It just cuts through the guitars and the vocals really well. Over here, I have Peisty 16-inch giant beats. I used to play 14-inch hi-hats, and then I got 15s, and I like those even better. And then I discovered these 16s, and I really dug them from the start. Despite being really big, they're super fast. I don't have any problem with them being like laggy or just too much to handle. They seem to work out really well for me. And I've gone back and played 14s a few times since upgrading to these, and it feels super funny. So yeah, I just really like big cymbals and drums. For sticks, I am playing Vader 1As. These ones are super chewed up and gross, but yeah, I've been playing Vader 1As for the past like 2 or 3 tours we've done. I really like them. It's similar to a 5A, but just a little bit longer, and that gives me a little bit more power. All my hardware is DW. My rack is DW. My kick pedals I just got are the new Machine double drive double kick pedals, and my hi-hat stand is the direct machined hi-hats, 2-leg hi-hat stand from DW. Absolutely love both of them. The pedals are super, super lightweight. I'm playing them with wood beaters to just get a little bit more attack on the kick drum. And I think that's pretty much everything there is to say about my drum set. Oh, inside my kick drum, I have a May drum mount, and I have an Audix D6 just permanently mounted in there. It's got a output right there on the side. Just makes it easier at venues for sound engineers to hook up. I've gotten a lot of compliments from different venues and staff where we've played. I think it was a good choice to go ahead and do that. Also, Colin, Wes, and Adam get pretty crazy on stage and have kicked over countless kick drum microphones that were in front of my drum set, just because it's kind of in the way on stage, and if you're playing a small stage, you're walking on each other.
Hi, my name is Adam. I'm the vocalist for Pickwick Commons, and I use this microphone Brandon bought for me. And then you're just going to cut it right after that.
Talk about what mics you use. Do you know what it's called?
It's a EV-ND96.
Alright, cool.
It's a microphone that's designed to it's designed to scream into it.
No, just for
Yeah.
Turn it off.
Jackass.
I'm sorry.
Word bugs, word bugs.